in the final lap.
Thanks for hanging with us, everybody. This is part 3. So.
Yeah. Woo woo. This one we're going to have some questions from different people. I'm not going to say last names. Maybe some of these. Actually, I might own one of them. The first question is going to be from Pastor Dunlap of Cross Point Church. I just said I wasn't going to say the identities. All right. What's up there, Pastor Dunlap? Good friend of mine. His question is, what is something you would like to see local churches who are community-minded take on and help improve or change?
Yeah, gosh. When you sent me the questions, I was really thinking about this one. And I think, first of all, I just want to say we have such a great faith-based community here, right? And we have a lot of churches that do so much reach out. And so I just want to say that I appreciate everything that they do. A lot of things that I think that, that need to happen are, I would love our churches to get involved maybe with our homeless population. And I know that a lot of them do. They go to the shelters and things like that. I know you and Keisha both, kind of do that. Getting houses, like working on helping, getting houses, ready for people to move into. I know that's not, and I know that there's organizations that do that. But we were trying to really, I was really trying to think, maybe getting more involved with our youth. Our youth, I think, have lost spiritual leadership, and I think that is a big thing. And I see it, and I think that a lot of people see that. They say kids nowadays, those are the things that they're doing, and I think, I think if the churches could get involved, with our youth, I think would be, even more so than what they are. It's easy. I won't say it's easy. When you have parents that bring your kid to church and then they get involved in a youth group, they have that group.
Absolutely.
If we can somehow, and I know sometimes it's tough, but the good news is that our schools do allow faith-based partners. And so you can partner up with a school, and they do things for the teachers and they do things for kids. So I would love to see that a little bit more. I think, I think good spiritual leaders and good, especially male role models, would be really amazing, I think, for our kids. So.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in there. Speaking of the homeless population, and of course, we were at a meeting the other night, and you heard from Bishop Dickerson from the Christian Shelter. What do you think? How do you feel the county interacts or deals with the homeless?
So really, the majority, not all, but the majority of the homeless population very much, for lack of a better term, reside or stay really within the city limits. And not that I want to say it's a city problem. It's not. And I don't want to say it's a problem,
it is a problem.
The city is within the county.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
right.
What I mean is that I don't want the city to think it's solely their problem.
Sure.
So I think that, I wish I had an answer. I really do. It's a very tough thing. I've spoken to some, and a lot of them are content, with the lifestyle that they live, which makes it really difficult. You want to try to come out and help, and it makes it very difficult. I will tell anybody that there are jobs that are within the county that we would love to have. We need people to help sort recycling. We need people as different things out at our rec and parks, cutting grass. So we have jobs that we would be willing to have people come on, but I think they have to be willing to do that. So it's like that. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So one thing that we are doing at the county level that I will say, we have partnered with Habitat for Humanity, and so Molly Hilligloss is pretty amazing with that. I will tell you, in one aspect, I don't love government being involved in housing. It's just one of those things that I don't believe in. However, we have we've done a lot with our cannabis funds. I'm actually very proud of it. I was not happy when cannabis became legal, but it is, and so we get a tax revenue from that, and it has to be put to good use. And so we have partnered with various things. We are changing the way our rec and parks are out at Billie Jean Jackson and over in San Domingo and things like that. So putting that back in the community, starting some rec and parks programs out that way. I know we have given some cannabis money to Sam Scott, who works with youth, at-risk youth, for psychological services in those areas. And then we've also partnered now with Habitat with Humanity, where they're able to get $100,000 and start, flipping some houses, to create more housing for people. So we are trying to better our community with the resources that we have. So.
Okay, awesome. As a matter of fact, before we move on, I know you and I have been working, and along with Keisha, on Curtis, and I know a lot of people out there in the Facebook world.
Curtis, come work for the county. You can come get some money.
And again, it's one of those things when I've talked to him, he's the happiest guy alive, but sometimes I'm not quite sure if he quite understands. So we're going to have to try to figure something out. But I know that's something you and I have been talking about helping out with. And I heard that they actually they have a new position for picking up litter.
So the position's not created yet. So it's something that Wacomico Clean wants. They want a full-time litter picker-upper person.
Curtis, that's what you do.
Yeah, we just need Curtis. Yeah, exactly. So we, obviously litter is a huge issue in the county. And we have a great group of volunteers, with Wacomico Clean that goes out and does it. They would like to see more county involvement, with that initiative.
Sure.
Right now we have Jen Albero, who does a great job with what she's doing, and I think having somebody coordinate those efforts, I think that she is definitely the right person for that. And I think that they Wacomico Clean people really appreciate her efforts as well. So, so we are definitely looking at that. To kind of see if it's something that we will be able to do. I'm going to tell everyone, if we create a position, it's $15, $16 an hour position. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if there are people out there that want to come pick up trash all day, every day, and do that. Now, one thing that we thought about was partnering with district court. So back in the day, inmates used to come and pick up the trash.
Yes, they did.
Unfortunately, and I know a lot of people have asked, well, why aren't they doing that still? And the reason being is the inmates in our facility are pre-trial. Pre-trial inmates cannot be out in the community. They just cannot. They have to be sentenced first. So they have to kind of stay put until their trial date. So unfortunately, our resources at our jail are not available. But one thing that we thought about, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, is we thought about people who are first offenders of like DUIs and things like that. One thing that could be part of their sentencing is they have to give 8 hours to the county, and we take a group of them out there and they pick up trash on one road, one day, and that's just what they're sentenced to do, and so we thought about partnering where they can, they're, put kind of society in danger, and so now they're giving back, to society and helping clean it up. So we're looking at a lot of different avenues because we understand it's a problem, and we have a group of citizens that feels very strongly about it. So we want to make sure that we are, continuing their efforts. So.
Maybe some of those out there that's in jail for child support, you can pay the child support by doing that. Anyway.
I like it. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to think of it. If you guys have any ideas, please feel free, to reach out. And a lot of the problem is that we can have hundreds of people picking up trash. We have to figure out a way to change the behavior of humans, which is really difficult. We can't have people throwing trash out the window, right?
That's why you need faith-based.
Yeah. So it's difficult to change behavior of humans, but hopefully when people, see the trash, different roads, that they don't look the way that they used to, hopefully they'll want to keep them clean. I know the Wacomico Clean people are frustrated. They've cleaned certain roads and they go back and they're just trash the next day.
Well,
and it's disheartening, and I can't imagine how they're feeling about that. But again, it's really difficult to change the behavior of humans.
By the way, also, those also for roads for a county, y'all do a great job also of picking up trash.
Yes, they do.
So I just want to say that.
They just do a great job in general. I mean, just this last rainstorm we had, Jackson Road was like, flooded. There was like a pipe that was over. And within a day, these guys were out there getting it fixed. So I give them a big shout out. Yeah.
Appreciate y'all, seriously. Second question I have from the community is from Captain Joe. What's up, Joe?
Hi, Joe Lappin.
See, I wasn't going to say your whole name.
Everybody knows Captain Joe. Yeah.
But anyway, in spite of all the difficulties, how has your faith increased? How does it help you to govern?
So it's definitely increased because I don't think I would still be standing without it. So, you try to do things on your own and try to say, I don't need that, but sometimes it's the only thing that kind of gets you through. So it's definitely, I think, increased. And how does it help me govern? It helps me all the time. When you think about the governing, document of our country, it's based on the Bible. And if you think about, if it works, and that works, our Constitution works, it's based on the Bible. So you want to try to do those same principles, here. So So if you're implementing the Constitution, whether you like it or not, you're implementing parts of the Bible. So I think every day. I mean, every day. You know, I mean, that we, you know, so yes, Joe, yes, every day I kind of think about, you know, I'm thankful for where I am and what I'm doing, and hopefully that I'm, you know, doing the right things, you know, for the community. So.
Well, I can kind of speak with Joe because, of course, my wife over here, we spend some time praying. Little routine, I may get in trouble for this later, but a little routine my wife and I have in the morning before I go to work is we stop somewhere downtown and we pray, because there's a lot of strongholds that you can't see down there. So we definitely need to stay prayed up. So I'm pretty sure that's what Joe's saying. There's a lot of us that are praying for you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us praying for all of our leaders.
Well, and I think that I mean, I'm grateful for each one, you know, every single person. And I think that, you know, it really shows that this is a community effort, you know what I mean, together. So I appreciate every single one of you.
Awesome, awesome. Next one is from Holly. Okay, I'm just going to say that. I call her Mom Holly, so we know who that is. What do you believe is the biggest task you must finish or achieve immediately after winning a second election?
Immediately after. Gosh.
Pick up the pen. Let's go.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could do executive orders. You know what I mean? Wow, Holly, that's a really good question. It's so hard because I feel like after 4 years, so I'll have 2 more, but after those 4, you're going to be in the middle of 10 things. You know what I mean? And so you hope just to continue those 10 things. Gosh, I don't know. I may have to come back to that one. I don't know if there's any one thing that I would be able to say, boom, I'm able to complete that, because I feel like everything we do, there's always dominoes, right? So you fix one thing, it's always like whack-a-mole, you know what I mean? You fix one thing and then another thing pops up, and then you fix one thing and another thing pops up. One thing I would really like, I've talked to a lot of people, and while our roads guys, you guys do an amazing job, and I know our team is working on that, what I would really like to see is more of a schedule of when things are going to be paved, of when things are going to be moving forward. People will know when we are coming, you know, that kind of thing. Ditch maintenance, road maintenance, you know, that kind of thing. I would like to see that more scheduled. And guys, I'm not criticizing anything you do, and there may be a schedule already out there, but I know that there have been some people that would really like to see maybe that publicized, you know, that we can kind of say, hey, we're coming in this area. I'd also like to really modernize the way that we handle constituent services. Anybody can call my office, and AK and Lisa are there, and they will help them out. But I would like a way to make it more of an online thing, or if there is a ditch issue or a road issue, that it can be submitted somehow. So a little bit more efficiency, I think, on how we handle constituent issues would be nice.
So you're planning now?
Yeah, of course. And then the other thing, too, is along with government efficiency, at some point in time, I would really like a public information officer, and I would like a legislative aide. And even if that position was combined, I think both are so vital for not just me, but for the county council as well. There are so many good things that happen in this county, and a lot of times all we see is the negativity, because that's what, you know, gets clicks on WBOC and whatever else. But we need a PIO to make sure that we're getting that great information out. I try my best, you know, I do little, you know, Facebook videos and posts and, you know, press releases and things like that, but to have somebody doing that and saying, these are the great things that are going on, and then a legislative aid, because let me tell you something, some of those bills up in Annapolis are crazy, and it would be nice to have a full-time person from January just to April to look at everything, to say, this is going to affect us, this is negative, this, you know, you need to write a letter of opposition, you need to go speak, and that's for the county council too. They've done more, I do have to say, they've done more letters of support and opposition this year than they have that I've ever seen. So I am happy that they're doing that. However, to have somebody really looking at that, and then when that legislation is passed, having somebody say, okay, this is how it affected this county, you know. So I don't know. So I think, even though you know, it's a taboo to grow government, but I do think that we need to work on some constituent constituent outreach and just government efficiency. So those would be things that I would try to take care of. And I think I'd be a little bit more successful with the different councils. So.
Well, that's what I was about to hit on before I go to the next one from a good friend of mine named Patrick. I was going to ask you, now that's based upon what Holly was asking, was based upon if you had a, I'm not going to say a totally new council, but maybe new people in seats, and you had ones that you maybe can work with better, what would be the first thing you try to get done?
I don't know. It would be one of those things where the first thing I would want to get done Well, term limits is going to be done by a vote. Like that's got to be on the ballot.
Okay.
So that's going to be, if we get the signatures by next year, it's going on the ballot in 26. I don't need anybody else.
There you go, guys. We
Yeah,
need,
10,000 or 12,000 signatures we need. If y'all are ready to sign, we have the documents ready to go, and it's something that we need to divide and conquer. I'm gonna have people take these to their churches. I'm gonna have people take them to the different organizations, different clubs that you belong to. Get these people to sign this. I don't care if they are Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, Tea Party. I don't care where you are. If you believe in term limits and we need them in this county, make sure to sign this paper. So, but anyway, so that'll be done. You know, prior to that, that'll be done at the time of the election. We would know at that point in time. So, but I would probably say what I would like to do first thing would be to sit down with the new council and figure out what is the direction we want to go from Wacomico County. What do we want as a legislative body, as an executive body? What direction do we want? Do we want to be more education focused? Do we want to be more business focused? Do we want both? You know, what do we want that landscape to look like? And for some of us, you know, if some of the people are reelected and I'm reelected and we do go to term limits, it's going to be our last 4 years. So what do we want to do? What legacy do we want to leave?
Okay. Well, and this leads right into Patrick's question, which would be, how would you achieve more? Excuse me. How would you try to achieve more if, unfortunately, his words, unfortunately, you end up with the same people on council?
Yeah. Well, I do want to say, I think, again, a lot of people think that no work is being done because of the in-house fighting. But that's not necessarily true. Every single campaign promise I made, I have delivered on. Every single one. I said I was going to help, you know, I was going to fix accidental disability. We fixed accidental disability. I said we were going to have a better working relationship with our municipalities. We do. I wanted West Side representation, and we got that.
Yes.
I wanted to implement the water and sewer plan. We've implemented that. So the things that I campaigned on, we have delivered. And so I'm very happy about that. However, if I end up with the same count, I don't think we will. But if for some reason we do, we're just going to have to figure it out. I mean, we can't do, I don't think, people are not going to accept another 4 years of like this. And I think this is the first time in a long time. I think people knew that there was tension between Bob Culver and the council, but not the way it is now. And I think it was a good thing because we brought it to light that there is an issue, that we have a group of individuals that have a hard time accepting we have an executive form of government. They tried to get rid of it, you know, which was unsuccessful. And so now that we have that, and we have this idea that the people want the checks and balances, they want they want to have the two branches of government. We have to figure out a way to work together. So I'm very hopeful that it will be a new group of individuals with fresh ideas, not the same old guard. But if for some reason it is, we got to figure out a way to move forward.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Good answer. Next one comes from Paula. What have you learned in your first term that will shape how you lead in the second term?
I have learned in the first term that you have to do a lot more listening. And I've really tried in my you know, before I was like, I want to do this, this, and this, and this, and I felt like I needed to prove myself to everybody. And if I didn't always have an answer, or if I didn't always, you know what to say, that people would think that I was weak and that I didn't belong in the role. But I think now, after these 2 years, I've proven that I have lived up to everything that people thought I was going. You know, I've lived up to what I said I was going to. I have fulfilled the campaign promises. We're in a great financial place. We're seeing positive change around this county. We're making government more efficient. We're doing the things that we said we were going to do. So that part is done, the proving myself. And now it's really time for me to listen, to try, especially if it's my last 4 years, because I have to prepare that next executive for the things that, you know, that we're not able to finish in those 4 years. So I think, Paula, I would say that I need to do a lot more listening, you know, to constituents. Not just to constituents, but just listening, you know, and making sure that I'm hearing, you know, everything and all parts of you know, people's sides and things like that. So
one of the greatest attributes of a leader is learning that you have more things to learn.
That's exactly right.
You know, awesome. Sean, says, what are your plans to work as a collective with council to help prepare the county and go forward? I guess that's kind of like
kind of the same thing. Yeah, I mean, my hope is, okay, so if it's a different council, I really hope day one to go in and say, hey, we need to work together. We obviously know how things were before with the old guard was not successful. It wasn't working. And I'm not saying things didn't get done. I'm not saying taxes didn't stay low and things like that. I'm not saying that at all. I am saying that we really need to figure out a way to show the county that we can work together.
Okay.
You know, so I think that we need to really prove that, because I don't think that we've done that yet. And even though good work is getting done, and even though we, y'all, my son and my dog, I swear.
So good.
Jack, take the dog upstairs. No, why are you even down here right now?
I had to take her outside.
Look, me being the mom right now on Facebook.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Anyway, but I'm sorry, I'm being distracted because I'm hearing him and her, you know what I mean? But anyway, you all know how it is. You all are parents out there, you know. But at the end of the day, honestly, people need to see that this form of government works, and it does work. We have checks and balances, and you know, we just need to, I think, bring faith back in our government. So I'm really hoping that people see that.
Okay, and last one would be anonymous. What makes you different than other candidates that may run for this position?
Well, what's interesting is after 4 years, so I'll have 4 years in, besides Rick Pollitt, which I don't think Rick is going to run, I'll have the most experience of anybody, you know, as an executive here in this county. That's one thing, and I get to say that. Like, I get to say that I have that experience. Another thing is I was the first woman. I was the first, you know, woman to take charge of this, and I think that that's really cool. But yay!
That's my wife in the background.
Right. But in all honesty, I think what makes me different is I still, you know, gosh, I don't know. There's probably a lot of things to say about this. But what makes me different, I think, is I don't back down. I am not going to, I will not do something because it's the popular thing or because somebody else tells me to do it. I will do it if it's the right thing to do. And I think we lose that a lot. You know, you have people that sell their souls in politics, and I haven't done that yet, and I really hope that I won't do that.
You're not.
Yeah, no, and I really hope that I don't do that, you know, and I want to make sure that every decision that I make is for the betterment of this community and, you know, for the betterment of our people here. And yeah, I just, yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I really come into this, honestly, with a pure heart, like really wanting to do good things for this community. And every decision that I've made, and I know that I've made mistakes, believe me, I know that, but all of them came from a place of good. You know, it wasn't me trying to be nasty or mean or try to hurt anybody. It was, this is going to be really good for this community. And like I said, some of them could have been done differently. Some of them, you know, probably weren't the best decisions, but you live and learn, you know? And so, I don't know, because I think it just depends on who's going to run, you know, and I think, you know.
I think you're going to want it a little bit more.
I think so too, and I think that the other thing is too, is that I think I've earned the faith of people, and I've earned the respect, and I think that people view it as, okay, she may not be the expert at everything, but man, she's got really good people around her, and they have left state jobs and these jobs in this county to come and work for her because they see the positive things going forward. I have the staff behind me. There may be a couple people, of course, you know, that maybe not love me as their boss, but for the most part, I think that my employees and the employees of this county for the first time feel that there is somebody in office that is going to protect them, that is going to fight for them, that is going to make sure that she is doing everything for them. And I think that they've seen that. You know, I really try to support everything that they do. I support my department heads and everything that they do. So having the confidence in people and then having the faith from my employees, I think kind of, you know, stands, you know, leaps and bounds above anybody else, I think. So
if I could add anything, from my point of view as being kind of one of your ministerial aides, whatever you call it, I think it's time to let you lead. And that should be something that's going to make you want to, go again. Because I feel like in this first 4 years, you've had to fight for the opportunity. I have an aunt that, shout out to Ella Fisher, who's a Democrat, okay, and she'll tell you point blank, she's not a Trump fan or any of that. But when you put out your little video there, which you ended with your glasses on, which she was just like, I'm not a Democrat, but she got my vote. So there's a lot of people that seen that fight attitude of yours. Yeah. So now that you've had to fight, now what you get an opportunity to lead. Yeah. So let her lead should be.
Yeah. I no, and I appreciate that. I know a lot of people were like, it was so dramatic, and you're doing the Hollywood thing, you know. But I just wanted people to know that I'm not going to back down.
Drop the mic moment.
Right, yeah, and I'm not going to back down. You know, I am not going to take threats from the council or anybody in the community that says, well, I'm going to talk bad about her on a show, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to come to the council meeting and say, like, that's fine. I mean, go ahead and do that. You know, and I've told these people, and I've told them numerous times, every time they talk bad about me, I gain another supporter and follower. So they can keep going, you know, and they're running out of things to say at this point in time because we continuously prove, you know, them wrong. You know, it's amazing to me to be called names and she's a fascist, she's this, she's that. They're the same rhetoric they use for Trump, which is kind of funny. But yet, our turnover rate was cut in half and then in half again. People aren't leaving. People are coming to us saying, please, like, I want a job with Wacomico County. You know, I see the good things that are going on. We have partnerships with people who probably thought, well, she's, you know, a conservative Republican, she's never going to work with us. I mean, we were able to work with Habitat for Humanity using cannabis money, which I hate the fact that that's legal, but we're now putting it right back into the communities that were affected. So that's what that's about. You know what I mean? So reaching across the aisle and just making Wacomico County better. And, you know, and you never lose sight of, you know, your values and things like that, but, yeah, you know, so, yeah, I thank you for those type of, you know, for saying those things. So.
Now, one thing I would like to add is, and I know you do it because I'm around you, but how about working in the poverty-stricken areas and a lot more minorities? Because some people, they just go with what somebody tells them. Oh, I mean, because I do know there's some that say, oh, when you bring somebody up there, are they a person of color? You know what I mean? Right. So, I mean, how do you seem to try to work on that area of people trying to criticize that?
Yeah. Are you saying like I'm not in it enough? Like,
no, I think you are, but I'm saying how are you gonna like maybe work more on fixing people and being able to say that? Right?
Yeah. Well, I think that there are a lot of things that people
don't know. You're gonna have
critics
regardless.
Yeah. You're gonna have critics regardless, but there's some things like, you know, I'll be honest with you. If I'm out picking up trash, or if I'm out, you know, and I'm talking about, I've never joined the Wacomico group, like I haven't been able to go out and do that. But if I'm out doing those things, or if I'm going to help out somewhere, those are things I don't necessarily need to post on Facebook.
Exactly.
So what I try to post on Facebook are the celebratory things. Are things that, you know, if I'm celebrating an event, or if there's a ribbon cutting, or if I'm promoting a group or something like that, those are the things I put out there. You know, the selfie of handing food to a homeless person, I'm just not really into.
Shouldn't be.
I'm not really into.
Shouldn't be.
So, you know, there are going to be things that happen behind the scenes, and not just that, but there are things that happen behind the scenes that aren't publicized. And maybe, you know, we could focus on that a little bit more, but I need people to know that there are meetings with individuals, you know, that people don't know.
And I know these, right? I just want to put it
out there. Yeah. And so I don't want people to think, just because they don't see it on Facebook doesn't mean that it's not happening. Right. We promote the good things out on Facebook. Look at what we're doing. These are the groups that we're, you know, whatever. But there's a lot of work that happens behind the scenes that doesn't necessarily need the clicks and likes and things like that. So we know we're doing them. So.
Because we do know that some critics love to say there's only your friends and those who could give you financial backing.
Oh my gosh, this financial backing. Let me tell you all something. I'm going to tell you all this right now. Financially, candidates would not be able to do what they do without the support of supporters. You know, I mean, because if they didn't get the donations, then you would only have rich bureaucrats running for office. Only those people that could fund their own campaigns. You want a candidate where there's a ton of people donating to them because they believe in them. You know, and that's how you show it. I hate that they look at donations as so negative, like it's bribes and things like that. It's not. It's a group of individuals that says, we believe in her, and not only do we believe in her, we're willing to put our hard-earned dollars into that person because we see the good in her, or the good in him, or whoever. So I hate that people look at these campaign donations as a negative thing. They're not a negative thing. And I'm going to tell you, I'm about to get a lot of campaign donations because I got a campaign to run. So I'm going to have a lot of people from here, you know, and people see me across the bridge. They love what we're doing here in the county. I want a ton of people donating, because what I want people to see is, wow, there's so many people that support her. They're willing to give up their hard-earned dollars to put into this campaign because that's how much they believe in her. So this whole thing about, oh, she's getting bribed and she just takes care of people that give her money, that is not the case at all. At all, at all. You know, there are people, I'm going to give a perfect example real quick. So I was in office, you know, a couple months, and there was an individual who worked with me as a teacher. We were not really friends by any means, but, you know, worked with me. She was a colleague. And she was horrific to me during the election. Horrific. I mean, spread lies and rumors and said horrible things about me, posted on Facebook, said nasty things. She ended up switching her political party. She was a Democrat, switched to Republican to vote against me in the primary. That's how much this woman does not like me, okay? That's how much she didn't want me to be executive. But 4 weeks into office, she came up to me. I just want to say 4 weeks. I mean, it might have been a couple months, but I was in office. And she said, I need to talk to you about my neighborhood because there is a four-way kind of crossroad. There needs to be a stop sign there. And I said, you know, in one aspect, I'm like, I know you are not asking me for help. What? But I had to get out of that mindset, right? Because no matter what, at that point in time, they're all my constituents, right? So I listened, right? So I listened, and I talked to Rhodes, and within a week or two, she had a stop sign because they did a study. There were deaths that happened there, and she was right. And so that was one thing where I helped a constituent. Was it little? Yeah, but it was somebody. She's not donating to me, and I can probably guarantee you that next election she's not going to vote for me, even though she got her stop sign, and that's okay. But the point is that I'm not out there just helping people because they donated to me. There are some people that didn't give me a dime, and I would help them in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? And that's what's just really frustrating. But I want to say thank you to every single person that's ever donated to me. I don't care if you donate dollars, say a prayer for me, do whatever. You know, just come up and tell me thank you. Click on my Facebook. You know, tell me I need this done, or we like that you're doing this, or whatever the case may be. However you show your support, I appreciate it. But I'm going to tell you, people are going to donate to me. I mean, that's how we run these campaigns. You can only get a certain amount
to do what you need to do.
It does.
And
it does
that's
save
in
money.
any aspect, political, anything.
Right. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. So I just want to tell people out there, I'm going to get donations. I'm going to have volunteers. I'm going to have people wearing Giordano for County Executive t-shirts again. And, you know, whether they give $1 or the max is $6,000, you know, they believe in me. And so I think that that's what needs to be celebrated. Is not the amount and what she's done and all of this stuff. It's, wow, she has such a backing that people are willing to give up. Look, and giving up money's tough. It's tough. You know, people, groceries are expensive. You know, but when you
have expensive nowadays.
Yeah, right. When you have somebody willing to say, you know, here's $5, here's $20, here's $100, here's $500, we'll, you know, sponsor your event at $1,000. It's just showing their faith in you as a leader. You know, so I hate that people look at it as bribery. It's not bribery. It's, you know, you have this support, and not only do you have our support and our vote, but you also have our financial support because we want your message out there. You know, we want you as our mouthpiece. We want you spreading that word. We want you to continue leading. So
we definitely need you, and we so appreciate you.
Thank you, girl. I appreciate you.
Well, on that note,
Keisha off camera and coming in.
She's doing a great job.
She's coming in hot over here. You know what I mean?
Hey, we appreciate everything you do. We truly do, and we definitely do pray for all leaders. And we've seen a lot of growth in you. I mean, again, we all have room to grow. This last 3 years, believe me, I've done a lot of growing. But you, as a leader, have done so many different things differently. Even though you already had what it takes to do it, but you learned to adapt and overcome.
Oh, yeah.
And just keep doing that.
Well, I think, and like I said this before really quick, and I know we got to wrap up, but this, again, that whole idea of feeling that I have to prove myself because I was told, oh, you're just a teacher, you don't know what you're doing, you're coming in this role, you don't know how to run a county, you don't know how to run a business. We're in a better financial state than we've ever been. So apparently I know how to do something. But my point is that it's that I don't need to do that any longer. That part of me has kind of set sail where I don't have to prove myself because my results are there. I can, you don't, it's not me just lip service, it's you can see what's going on. You see what's going on out at the Civic Center, you see the construction's happening, you're gonna see us moving out of downtown and getting, you know, a better health complex. You're gonna see a new library, you're gonna see these new things. And see roads getting paved and seeing less turnover. So you're seeing the things. And so I don't have anything to prove, you know, when it comes to that. So that piece is done. And so I think that instead of me having to focus on, okay, well, I have to prove myself and people have to take me seriously, I think I've done that. And so I think that just, you know, having that part done, you know, it just leaves so much room to, you know, for so many other things. So.
Campaign slogan yet?
I still think, you know, as much, I still love active local leadership. I do. That was the one for this last one. And so I have
Let her lead?
Let her lead, yeah. No, we were saying that before, you know, to let her lead. I think that might be, the jury might still be out on that one, so there might be another one. You know,
put a poll out there,
yeah, we gotta do we'll have to like figure out the new campaign slogans.
Our Esther for such a time as this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you once again there, Madam Executive, and thank you all for tuning in. And you're gonna actually need to back this up on Facebook because the different rules, it won't stay up more than 30 days. But that's all right. That's all right. Thank you all.
You'll have it out on YouTube though, right?
It will be. Thank you. We can plug that now. Yes, you can also visit Bridging the Gap on YouTube and watch this, and it'll remain there. So thank you again.
All right. Thanks, everybody.